Okay, on lessons 8 and 9, our focus is going to be able to write the equations. I know you'll see in the directions that it says to write and solve, but all I'm going to ask from you on these two lessons is that you can set up an equation appropriately, okay? You'll also notice that on lessons 8 and 9, all you have in your materials is the problem set. The reason behind that is I'm going to do the odds and then you're going to go back and do the evens. Now, when we are setting up an equation, one of the biggest things your teachers, as you go forward in math, when you're setting them up, we're not going to put it have the variable by itself. And so what I mean by that is we're not going to set up an equation, for example, that says 5 minus 3 equals A. And in doing that, the variable is all by itself as the solution. So we're not going to set it up that way. Our variable is going to be somewhere in the mix of our problem. Okay? All right. So sometimes when you're doing these, it is helpful to set up a picture to help you understand what you're wanting. All right. So let's get started. So it says the perimeter of a rectangle is 30 inches. So that word is a clue, and that tells me my answer to my equation is 30. So 30 is what's going to come after the equal sign. So I know equals 30. It says if the length is 3 times the width, find the dimensions. So if I draw myself a rectangle, and it says the length is 3 times the width. Well, I don't know the width, so I'm going to give it the letter W. You can use any letter you want. If the width is W, the length is 3 times that. So 3W. And that would be 3W, and this would be W. So if I'm finding perimeter, that means I'm adding up all of the sides. So on this one, W plus 3W plus W plus 3W is equal to 30. Now someone might simplify it, and so an equivalent simplification, if I added all those up, 8W equals 30. And as I said, we're not going to solve it because all I'm asking you to do at this point is can you set up an equation? Okay, now let's go to number 3. A volleyball coach plans her daily practices to include 10 minutes of stretching, 2/3 of the entire practice scrimmaging, and the remaining practice time to work on drills of specific skills. On Wednesday, the coach planned 100 minutes of stretching and scrimmaging. How long is the entire practice? So I got to think to myself, how might I set this up? Okay. So I'm going to use the letter P to represent the entire practice. So 2/3 of the entire practice is used for scrimmaging. 10 minutes is used for stretching. And the coach said on Wednesday the total 100 minutes includes the stretching and the scrimmaging. So that is equal to 100. Okay? Now, at first glance, you think you're done. But this coach gave us that amount of time in minutes. And they want an answer in hours. So 2/3 of the practice time times P, that doesn't have to be changed. But 10 minutes out of 60 to change that to hours, and this 100 out of 60. 100 minutes out of 60. Now, if you want to use the mixed numbers for those or the simplified fractions, that is okay as well. Okay, let's go on to number 5. Justin has $7.50 more than Eva, and Emma has 12 less than Justin. Together, they have a total of $63. How much money does each person have? So I need to think about each person before I can set up my equation. So Eva, I don't know. So she has E. Justin has $7.50 more than her. So E plus 7 5/10. And then Emma has 12 less than Justin. So Emma equals what Justin has minus 12. Now all of them together have a total of 63. So I'm going to take all of those that we just put together, E for Eva, and E plus 7 5/10 for Justin, plus Emma's, which was E plus 7 5/10 minus 12. And all of that equals the total of 63. Now you can leave it as this, and that's just fine. Or if you want to simplify it, this all simplifies to 3x plus 3 equals 63. And like I said, the original equation is just fine. Okay, number 7. Trevor and Melissa together have 26 t-shirts to sell. If Marissa has 6 fewer t-shirts than Trevor, find out how many t-shirts Trevor has. So Trevor has t-shirts, and Marissa has 6 fewer than him, so T minus 6, and altogether they have 26. So T plus T minus 6 equals 26. If you want to simplify, you can do that. This one, once I simplify, I end up with 2T minus 6 equals 26. Okay, next page. Okay. Number 9. A number is 6 greater than half of another number. If the sum of the numbers is 21, find the numbers. So the first number equals n. And the second number is 6 greater than half that number. Now, the sum of them is equal to 21. So I have n plus 6 plus half n equals 21. If you want to simplify that, you can, and you would get 2.5n plus 6 equals 21. Okay, number 11. The sum of 2 consecutive odd numbers is 156. What are the numbers? So the first number equals n. The second number is n plus 2. So I want you to think of consecutive odd numbers. Those are odd numbers that come right after each other. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on. So to get from one odd number to the next odd number, you have to add 2. So if I had 7 and 9, 7 plus 2 is 9. Or 13 and 15, 13 plus 2 is 15. So then when I set up my equation, n plus n plus 2 equals 156. So simplified, 2n plus 2 equals 156. Number 13. The cost of admission to a history museum is $3.25 per person over the age of 3. Kids 3 and under get in for free. If the total cost of admission for the Warwick family, including their 2 6-month-old twins, is $19.50, find out how many family members are over 3 years old. Okay. So the family, what it's asking us to do is figure out how many of the family members are over 3 years old. Okay, so it's not asking me how many total family members there are, just how many are over 3. So how many did I pay for? So it was $3.25 per person that I had to pay for. And I'm going to use W for the Warwick family. And my total is $19.50. So I would have $3.25 times my variable equals $19.50. And when I solve that, I would know how many family members there were that I had to pay for. 15. I'm thinking of a number. If you multiply the number by 4 and add -4 to the product, then take 1/3 of the sum, the result is number -6. Find my number. Okay, so we have our number, and we multiply it by 4. So 4n. I'm going to add -4 to the product, so plus -4, and then take 1/3 of the sum. In order to take 1/3 of the sum, I have to put this in parentheses so that I know to add before I multiply. So times 1/3. Now you can put that 1/3 before the parentheses or after the parentheses. And the result is -6. Okay, next page. Okay, just as I said with the other problem set, I'm doing the odds and you're going to go back and do the evens. We are only setting up the equations. I am not concerned with you solving them at this point in time. A company buys a digital scanner for $12,000. The value of the scanner is 12,000 times 1 minus n divided by 5 after n years. The company is budgeted to replace the scanner when the trade-in value is $2,400. After how many years should the company plan to replace the machine in order to receive this trade-in value? So 12,000 times 1 minus the number of years over 5, and the solution to that has to be 2,400. So again, just setting up the equation. Number 3, Brady rode his bike 70 miles in 4 hours. He rode at an average speed of 17 miles per hour for T hours and an average rate of 22 miles per hour for the rest of the time. How long did Brady ride at the slower speed? Use the variable T to represent the time in hours that Brady rode at 17 miles per hour. Okay, so to do this one, I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to kind of make a table just to show some different things. So I need you to hopefully remember that distance equals rate times time. That's a formula we learned earlier in the year. So he had 2 different speeds that he traveled at. So we got the first and the second. And his rate for the first part was 17, and his rate for the second part was 22. Then he had the time that he spent doing each of those, and his time for the first part was T. We don't know. And then the second part is 4 minus T, whatever from the total minus the amount of time he spent doing the first. I should have made my table just a little bit longer. And then my distance. So using my formula, distance equals the rate times the time. The distance for the first part of it is 17t. And for the second part, it's 22 times 4 minus t. So I can set it up like this, or I can multiply through and have 88 minus 22t. Okay, so the total distance we have is 17t plus this, and it tells us in the problem that his total distance was 70. So we have 17t plus either form from the other, so 22 parenthesis 4 minus t, or the 88 minus 22t, and that total has to be equivalent to 70. Okay, number 5. A young boy is growing at a rate of 3 5/10 centimeters per month. He is currently 90 centimeters tall. At that rate, in how many months will the boy grow to a height of 132 centimeters? Okay. So he's growing at a rate of 3 5/10 centimeters per month. So 3 5/10 centimeters times the number of months plus the 90 he already is at equals 132. Number 7. The sum of two numbers is 33. So my answer is 33. And their difference is 2. Find the two numbers. Okay, so our first number is n. Our second number would be n minus 2, because when they're subtracted, there's only a difference of 2, so something less than that. And then the total, when they're added together, is 33. Number 9, Polly ordered 250 pens and 250 pencils to sell for a theater club fundraiser. The pens cost 11 cents more than the pencils. If Polly's total order cost $42.50, find the total cost of each pen and pencil. Okay. So the pencils, 250 of them, and they cost C. Plus the pens, 250 of those, and pens cost 11 cents more than the pencils. So whatever C is, plus 11 hundredths, and my total is $42.50. Number 11. Emily counts the triangles and parallelograms in an art piece and determines that altogether there are 42 triangles and parallelograms. If there are 150 total sides, how many triangles and how many parallelograms are there? So remember, triangles have 3 sides. Parallelograms have 4 sides. Alright, so if T is the number of triangles, then there are 42 of those altogether. So 42 minus t is the number of parallelograms. Now, it doesn't give me, 42 is the total of the triangles and parallelograms together, but it's asking me based on sides. So triangles have 3 sides. So if triangles are t, 3 times t plus parallelograms have 4 sides, 4 times 42 minus t equals 150. So that will get me my total number of sides. When I solve it, I'll know how many triangles there are, and then from that I can figure out how many parallelograms there are. All right, for the last problem that I'm going to be working out, Lucas brought a certain weight of oats for his horse at a unit price of 20 cents per pound. The total cost of the oats left him with $1. He wanted to buy the same weight of enriched oats instead, but at 30 cents per pound. He would have been short $2, the total amount due. How much money did Lucas have to buy oats? Okay, so the enriched oats cost more. They are 30 cents per pound. So I'm going to use X there, minus the 20 cents per pound, what he originally purchased before he realized he had the wrong thing. And the difference between that X being the weight, or the number of pounds that he's buying. Now, for my number on the end, we have to do some mental math. Okay, when he bought the cost of the oats, he had $1 extra. If he had bought the same amount of weight with the enriched, he's $2 short. So the difference between -2 and +1, it's a $3 difference. So if you think about on your number line, okay, we're at -2 and we're at +1. The difference between those two totals is 3. 1, 2, 3. That's how we get the 3 for the total. Okay, so the same amount of weight at 30 cents compared to the same amount of weight at 20 cents gives me a difference of $3. Okay, go back and do the evens. Remember, we're only setting up the equations. If you get equations that you think are right but they don't match the key, make sure you ask in a Zoom session just to clarify, because I don't want you thinking something's right when it's actually wrong, or counting something wrong when it's actually equivalent.